Hey guys, and welcome to Ozzie Reviews, and welcome to the next installment in my beginner series on how to import. Now this is about importing different firearms or firearms parts, accessories, that sort of thing, and I'm going to try to give you the best explanation I can without it dragging on too long, guys, because this does get fairly involved. So first of all, why would you want to import? Well, number one, a lot of the times there's certain items that aren't available here in Australia. Now that can be from small parts such as springs or different rails that you might want for your firearm, or to actual complete firearms themselves that aren't available here. They might be a certain type of collectible firearm, or a firearm that isn't manufactured anymore that's still available overseas, and you might want to bring that in. Or it could be just the sheer fact that you want to save money, and by buying magazines or something from overseas, it's going to save you a lot of money. Now what we've got to realize here is importation is fairly involved, okay? If you have any queries whatsoever, make sure you contact customs here in Australia. Send them a link to the item that you'd like to bring in and ask them what permits and paperwork you need. Or if that item requires an actual import permit, they'll tell you, okay? So what you've got to make sure of, guys, here is you just got to cover yourself, because obviously if you don't and you import things that you shouldn't be importing without a permit, look, you're going to be open to prosecution, and it's just going to cause a lot of headaches when that's not your true intention to start with. So let's have a look at a few different things here and examples of what you might want to import. So for example, you might have a look at a magazine for your firearm that you'd like to import. How do you do it? You buy off brownells.com or other websites in the US or anywhere around the world, and they send you the items. What happens? What happens when customs then collect it and say, well, you've imported this without a permit? Where's your permit, and so forth. So this is the sort of thing we're looking at, guys. I just want to give you a little bit of an education on how the importation process works, just from my own experiences of importing as a feral pest controller, and also as a recreational shooter. I've imported on very various different levels, I should say. So hopefully I can give you a good understanding of it. But keep in mind, I'm certainly no legal advisor, so this video is designed just to talk about my own experiences. So first of all, let's jump into the legislation part and show you what controls all the importation here in Australia. So we're looking here at legislation.gov.au. Okay, now this is the federal website with all the federal legislation, because remember, importation here to Australia is obviously at a federal level. So no matter even if you're licensed for something in your state, the federal import laws can be very, very different to what your state or territory laws are. So I've brought up here the Customs Prohibited Import Regulation 1956. Okay, that's the legislation that controls imports of all goods to Australia. Now what we're interested in is down here. We want 4F, okay, section 4F, which is the importation of firearms, accessories, parts, magazines, ammunition, etc., etc. So we'll click that. Okay, so it brings up here a few different items, and it basically sets out some definitions. Okay, now there's a couple of key definitions I'd like to quickly run over, because it's really important. So for example, an adjustable stock means a stock that may be adjusted by more than 120 millimeters. So everyone seems to think that adjustable stocks are a prohibited import, pretty much. Well, no, they're not, because look at the definition of it. So that's adjusted by more than 120 mil. Well, those Magpul CTR stocks, you probably think, well, how do all the dealers sell them here? Well, easy, because they don't adjust more than 120 millimeters. Most of them adjust to about 95 millimeters. And if you jump onto brownells.com and you look under the specs of different adjustable stocks, they'll actually tell you the actual adjustment range. Okay, so then you can easily see whether it's under or over this 120 millimeters. So if it's under, then it doesn't require a permit. You can just freely order any of those adjustable stocks and bring them in. If they adjust over that 120 mil, then obviously you require an import permit for it, okay? When we go down here, it's got firearm, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's like all the state legislation, you know, it includes so many different items, you know, deactivated firearms, blank firing firearms, and then obviously firearms that do shoot. Firearm accessory, now this is where it confuses a lot of people. Firearm accessory here, it doesn't mean like a lot of people would think, oh, that's like a sling or a scope or something like that. No, it's not for the purpose of import. All it is a firearm accessory means a silencer, okay, suppressor, whatever you want to call it, or any device designed to convert a firearm to semi-auto or full auto or burst fire, okay? So it also includes a firearm part to which the firearm accessory is attached or is integral. So what that means is when you've actually got barrels with integral suppressors on them. Obviously that's a no-no, you can't bring that in you know, without an import permit. Then we've got firearm magazine, which means a magazine which is not complete, damaged, temporarily or permanently inoperable or unfinished. So what it means is you can't even bring in the body of a magazine without an import permit, okay? It requires that. Now the actual firearm parts here is very interesting because that will give you a list of what is classified as a firearm part and obviously requiring an import permit. So in other words, if you're bringing in a firearm barrel or you're bringing in a trigger, an upper or a lower receiver or a bolt carrier, or here, it says here an adjustable, detachable or folding stock, it will require an import permit. However, don't be too worried here about the adjustable stock, because once we go back up to our definition here, adjustable stock, as I said, means that you can adjust it by more than 120 millimeters. So if it is under that, it's not defined as an adjustable stock for the purpose of import. However, once you do order it and it comes through in the post and you open it up, if it's prohibited in your state, like I believe New South Wales is, well obviously you're committing an offence by possessing that. So obviously you don't want to order one if it's illegal in your state. Okay, so that's got a few definitions that are very, very important. So in other words, like your small parts. So say for example, you might want a, you know, just a trigger spring. Okay, that's not a trigger mechanism. Okay, a trigger spring, or you want like a rail or a handguard or even a pistol grip. You know, like say you wanted the actual grip, like an AR-15 pistol grip for like your Ruger precision rifle. You know, you can order that. They are freely available to be imported without any requirements for import permits here in Australia, okay? So all your small parts that don't come into the definition here of firearm part or a magazine or a firearm accessory or a stock, you can bring in, okay? So it's very, very straightforward, but like I said, if you have any queries, you know, by all means, just send customs an email, send them the link to the item that you'd like to bring in and say, hey, does this require an import permit? Please let me know. It's that simple, guys. Okay, so let's get back to the left-hand side here and go down to Schedule 6 here, which is the actual requirements for importation. Now, what will happen is you'll see Part 1 here, which is the tests. Now don't get too confused. It's not as if they actually get that item and they have to go out and test it on a range. That's not what it means, and it can confuse a lot of people when they look at this legislation. What it means is like a genuine reason, okay? Do you fulfill one of the genuine reasons to import, okay, which they call tests at the federal level. So the first one here, which is the official purposes test, now that's basically if you're government, okay? Official government bringing in for official use. So it's all your fully auto, Cat D, you know, Cat C, all that sort of stuff. It's not going to be applicable to you or I or anyone else, okay? Unless, of course, it's, you know, you work for the government and you're bringing in under official capacity. Specified purposes test is pretty much the same, you know, like if you've got contracts for the government and you're bringing in different items, you know, once again, you're not going to be using that, so we'll skip that. Now, there's a couple of ones here that is very, very relevant to us. Okay, so we've got here item 3, or genuine reason 3 as I like to call it, specified person test. So what this is, okay, have a look here. It says the Attorney General may give written permission for the importation of the article only if the Attorney General is satisfied that the importer of the article is a person whose occupation is partly or wholly the business of controlling vertebrate pest animals, and the holder the importer holds a license or authorization in accordance, with the law in their state or territory to do that occupation. So in other words, what's this mean? This is basically a specified person under this legislation means either a primary producer, okay, or a feral pest controller, because they're the only occupations that are out there controlling feral pests as part of their occupation. When we come down here to the police certification test, now this is basically for everyone for A, B, H that has a license, for recreational shooting, target shooting, all that sort of thing, okay? But it also includes, when you come down here to Part B, a Category C article if you are a primary producer. So in other words, if you're a primary producer, you can get an import permit at your state level, okay, called a B709. Now there's only two different types of import level. It's either at Attorney General, which is the federal level, which is a very long drawn out process, or it's at your state level, which is just a B709 import permit, which is obviously a lot quicker. So if you're a primary producer, you can bring in Category C firearms, parts, accessories, magazines, etc. Under a B709. You don't have to bring it in under the specified person test, if it's Category C. If it's Category D, you've got no option. You've got to go through the Attorney General's department. Okay, so if you're bringing in a magazine for, like say a 10-round magazine for a one of your pistols, okay, you're bringing in here under Category H there, because obviously you'll be using it for sports shooting or whatever. You can bring that in, okay? Very much the same if you're bringing in a 10-round magazine for your Remington 7615, Category B firearm, then you can import it under the police certification test, or the police certification, the genuine reason, as I like to call it. Now the number 5 here and number 5A is if you're actually got a Category C firearm, or you want to bring one in as a certified sports shooter, so in other words, clay target member, okay? So a lot of people do that, but it's not something that I've personally done. Now the dealer test here, Category C and D articles. So this is where, guys, you need to understand, like a dealer can bring in Category C and D firearms and parts and all that sort of stuff. But even though they could have that in the shop, in their store, they cannot sell that to you unless you get an import permit and comply, okay, with the specified person test, or if you're a primary producer for Category C, the police certification test, okay? You can't just go in and buy them. So a lot of people get confused, they see different Category C and D firearms for sale here in Australia from dealers, and that are brand new, and they think they can just go and buy it with a collector's license or with a firearm instructor's license, for Category C or D. Well, no, you can't, because you've still got to get an import permit to actually have it officially released from that dealer, if that makes sense. Okay, so when we go down, we'll scroll down, there's a little bit more information. Part 2 talks about the requirements for specified, for specific firearms, accessories, etc., and what you need to do to satisfy the test, or as I say, the genuine reason to bring it in. So item, just think of it as basically like category of firearm, or category of firearm part or magazine, okay? So item 1 is your Category A stuff, because let's have a look at the definition. An air rifle, a soft air rifle, a rimfire rifle other than semi-automatic, a shotgun other than semi-automatic, or repeating shotgun, or other than a firearm that has full auto capabilities. And now this is an important one, that is substantially the same in appearance as a full auto firearm, or to which a firearm accessory is attached or integral. So in other words, if it's got a suppressor attached to it, even though it's a bolt action 22, it can't come in, okay? It will not be able to come in under this section. Same as if it looks like a full auto firearm or something, So in other words, people ask me about, well, Ozzie, why can't we bring in the Troy pump, 223? Because when you go down to Category B, okay, firearms here, it's very much the same. They've got this cosmetic appearance clause in here, so that it's substantially the same in appearance as a full auto firearm. So if it comes in that looks like an AR-15, even though it's a manually operated like Troy pump, no, They don't. They actually put that into category D. Okay, so that's why we can't bring in all these firearms that have the appearance, under category A and B, that is, as category D or R here in Queensland, which is full auto. That's where they get you every time. Okay, so I really hope that clears up a few things for people. Okay, so as we go down, I won't delay on this too much because, guys, I just want you to understand how to work this system, as in understand it, and then you'll pretty much be able to do more research yourself. So let's go down now to magazines, okay, because that's a big one. Now, a lot of people will say to me, they'll go, well, Ozzie, I've been sent, BX25, so the 25 round Ruger 1022 magazine from the States, and I can have that because I'm using it with my Ruger American rimfire. Okay, yes, you can have it. Like here in Queensland, for example, you can have a 25 round magazine for your bolt action 22. However, that's not complying with the purpose of import. Okay, for the purpose of import, anything that's over 10 rounds for a semi-auto rimfire is banned. So why did I just say semi-auto rimfire? Let's have a look here. Item 16 here. Okay, it says a detachable firearm magazine having a capacity of more than 10 rounds for semi-automatic rimfire rifles. So they do not care that you're going to use that magazine or it fits a category A bolt action 22. It also fits a semi-auto rimfire, being the 1022. Okay, so the only way that you can bring that in is adhere to any of these official tests, or, as I say, genuine reasons. So if you're a feral pest controller, okay, or primary producer with category D, you can bring that in as the specified person test here. Okay, notice how there's no police certification test. So in other words, even if weapons licensing or your state police department issue you a B709 for a 25 round magazine, okay, what will happen is when customs intercept it, they'll say, come on over with your import permit. You'll go over there thinking that you can pick it up, and you'll go to hand over your B709, and then they'll take it and they'll say, no, you require an Attorney General's import permission. And this is why, okay, this item 16. So if it fits anything else, okay, like a category D firearm, and it's over 10 rounds, okay, you're just not going to get it without going through the Attorney General's department as a feral pest controller or primary producer, okay? Even in the dealers here, okay, the dealer test, they can bring it in, but then they cannot sell it to you until you satisfy this test here as the specified person, okay? So I hope that really clears up a lot of things, guys, because so many people get caught with that, and they ultimately lose their goods and they can face prosecution, okay? So you really need to be on your game and understand this legislation. So when you go through, there's a whole heap of more information to read there, but it's pretty straightforward, okay? Just to understand it here, all you need to do is have a look at the item number, have a look at the description of what it is, and then you can work out whatever it is that you want to import, whether it falls into any of these descriptions. And then over in column 3, you can see what you've got to satisfy to bring it in, okay? What genuine reason basically that you have. Okay guys, so I hope that hasn't confused you too much. Now if you actually want to import a complete firearm, my advice is just obviously go and do it through a dealer, because what's the extra requirement that you've got to adhere to here in Australia? You need to have a permit to acquire, okay? So regardless, everything has to go through a dealer if it's a complete firearm. Now, this means that even if you imported something and customs got it, even if you had the correct import permit, they can't release it to you because it's got to be released to a dealer if it's a complete firearm. In other words, a registrable part. Okay, so as I said, any questions, you just send it to customs, and they'll tell you what paperwork that you need to have squared away before you import it. The other thing worth mentioning here too, guys, is if you're importing from the US, for example, they also have export permit requirements. So they'll export firearm magazines and a lot of the small parts and stuff like that, no problem at all. But some of the more major components, they will require an export permit, their end. Okay, so there's different requirements depending on what you're ordering. But for most common uses, I mean, I like to go to like brownells.com, and you know, there'll be different replacement parts. Like there might be a sear that you want replaced, or you can get a competition smoothed up sear, you know, to give you a better trigger pull, or a lightened trigger spring or something. All that sort of thing can come in, you know, without a permit. But if you get all the parts that make up a trigger, well, obviously it will require a permit from there, you know. But there's just so many things that you can bring in that you know, you can really sort of enhance your firearms with, or replace worn parts with, and keep your firearms very safe and functioning correctly. So anyhow guys, I hope it's really sort of giving you a bit of an education. It's only a basic intro to importing and how it all works, but I hope it's giving you enough understanding for you to then go to the legislation and have a look at the Customs Prohibited Import Regulation 1956 and understand how the importing works, you know, a lot more from there. If you do want to ask me more questions, obviously that's available to people who help me out on Patreon. So if you want to jump on there, you can by all means fire as many questions as you want at me, and I'll do my best to answer them from my own experiences. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video, so till next time, we'll catch you then.